Hello, everybody. My name's Roy, and I'm an MK Ultra survivor, and I also recognise as a targeted individual. A friend of mine contacted me, and he's an Indian gentleman, and he said to me, he said, Roy, he said, would you tell a concise and brief story of what has happened to you over the years and what you've been through? Because my friend has reached out to Indian TV, and he's got himself on a TV channel, and he asked me if I would do a little testimony about myself to go out to the Indian community. So basically, won't be very long, and I'll be as brief and concise as I possibly can. And I've got friends all over the world. Sadly, I don't mean that. I mean, we've all made friends, but under sad circumstances because we're all victims of either, or survivors, as I like to call us, of voice to skull, remote neural monitoring, directed energy weapons, and so on and so forth. And as we sit here, less than 4 foot away from me is a window. And about 3 months ago, somebody came to my property to take measurements of the microwave energy coming in through my window. And there was between 1.5 to 3 gigahertz of energy coming in. And he also scanned my body for implants, and believes I've got implants as well. So anyway, where did it start? I'm not too sure of the dates and times because a lot's happened. Around 1994, it might have been late 94, it could have been early 95, or it could have been later, I don't remember. I was walking to a bar in my hometown. As I approached the bar, I felt a piece of my brain on the right frontal lobe. It just appeared to fold over. And I remember thinking, what the heck was that? And from that day, it took my personality away. It took my power of speech. I started hearing voices. And I was basically living in cuckoo land. I didn't know what was going on. At the time, I somehow, and I don't know how I did it, I managed to pass a driving test to become a taxi driver. So I had 10 years as a taxi driver, whilst coping with the voices for many years. And I didn't really have a proper conversation because I could only say a few words here and there. And I'll never know how I managed to find the properties when I look back now. So anyway, that was sometime 94, 95. And then for the next 7, 8, 9 years, I was regressed. What does regressed mean? Well, it was as if my brain had been rewound and everything was emptied out of my brain over a certain period of years. And there's so much, it's all coming back to me now as we speak. And where have I got to? Oh, blimey, I've got an intrusion now, sorry. And I quickly pause it so I can try and remember where I was. But I remember. Then about 8 years or so after I'd, maybe 9, I'd been hearing the voices, working in the taxis. I was sleep deprived, and the voices were really badly telling me to sell my business, my taxi business, sell my property. And the voices were also telling me, setting me up to meet a female. And the voices sent me to the Philippines. And I'd sold my property and my business, and I had £70,000 in the bank. And the voices sent me to the Philippines. I met this woman over there. She met me at the airport, and stayed in Manila, in Mandaluyong City, and then came back to England. And then I remember my mother, because I was under the mental health, because what happened was I was sleep deprived for 6 months. I was only allowed to sleep for about 2 hours every other day. And this is all happening all around the same time. So I've gone to the Philippines, met this lady, come back to England. I had to get permission from my mother, from the mental health services, to go to the Philippines to marry this woman. So anyway, I've gone over there to marry her. I came back home, and after getting married, we got married in church. Came back home after getting married. And the £70,000 that I had in the bank, every single penny of it went on internet gambling. And because I built up such a good credit rating, because I had a taxi business and a mortgage prior to that, I borrowed £15,000 on credit cards and spent every single halfpenny of that. And as a result of that, I'm banned from every single casino in Great Britain. And I've got to be honest, I'm pretty pleased that I am, because I was a compulsive gambler anyway. But the voices did edge me on to spend the money. Of course they did, because I would never have done that had I been in my right mind. But anyway, so that was Dolores. That was my wife. So then after that, what happened? Then after that, I cared for my mother whilst here in V2K, and not really knowing how I got to this point, to be honest. And then I learned, oh, anyway, another part of it, I think this is quite important. They've taken my power of speech away. And some years ago, I learned to converse again. I had to learn to speak because I couldn't hold a conversation, or I couldn't put a sentence together. I also had to learn to read and write, and I had to learn to use a computer again. I've got broken inner ear bones, where so much pressure was pumped into my head, or my brain, or my skull from a distance. However this was done, I'll never know. And it broke my inner ear bones. And I went to the ear, nose and throat specialists many years ago, and they said I've got a condition called stapedial myoclonus. And the gentleman in the in the hospital, in the theatre, or not in the theatre, the consultant, he said to me, he said, I've been here 40 years. He said, I've never come across this before. He said, do you mind if I go and get my student in to come and have a listen? And I said, no, of course I don't. So his friend came in to have a listen as well, because I've got this clicking in both ears, more predominantly in the right ear. I don't know why, but anyway, pressure got pumped into my head. Then all of a sudden, I just heard pop, and both of my ears, basically, the bones broke in both of my ears. So anyway, caring for my mother, I had a throat operation. A lump just appeared on my throat. And a few years later, another lump appeared on my throat. And then a lump appeared on my testicle. And I also had bladder cancer. There's no history of cancer in my family, as far as I know. My mother and father, it wasn't hereditary on any of our sides of the family. What else is important? There's so much more, and I just don't want to miss things out. Or oh, okay. About 15 years ago, I'd started to learn to read and write, and learn to use a computer, and I started to Google synthetic telepathy. And the reason I did this was because I knew the voices that I was hearing weren't internal. I knew they were coming externally into my head. Voice of God, Voice to Skull, V2K, these are all names that the MK Ultra survivors and targeted individual community call the names for the voices that come in. Voice of God, Voice to Skull, or V2K. And they are not nice. And this can go on for many years. In my case, it went on for 26 years. It started easing off about 2 years ago, and then it's gradually become silent. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't know if I was coming or going, and sadly, it makes you upset people. It turns people against you, and it turns people against everybody, because I've come across this so much in our community. And if I've ever upset anybody within the MK Ultra community, target individual community, or in real life, I am truly, truly, truly sorry. And I'd also like to say, most of the time, it wasn't me. It was this thing that I'd become, that I'd been turned into. It was not me. I was a decent and respectable gentleman, and I like to think I am. And I also like to think my integrity is intact. I've always tried to do my best for the targeted individual community, and hopefully I always will. I back targeted justice now that Anna's on board 100%. I back Ikator now as well 100%. And any court cases or anything that's happening within the MK Ultra survivors and targeted individual community, I'd like to think I would do my best to help each and everybody. I lived in quite a bit of fear for many years, and I thought to myself, you know, is there going to be any comeback from helping other people? Because I started helping in the very beginning, trying to help myself. And then as I come along the road, I've been reporting for 15 years, 3 years on Facebook, and then 12 years on Twitter. I've got a channel, or I started a channel called Targeted Individuals United. and that is for people to give their testimonies of being a targeted individual, and that's on YouTube and BitChute. That's Targeted Individuals United. 2 years ago, I started a show on, not a show, I just wanted to talk to people, and I wanted people to show their faces and for us all to interact, because I believe that if people showed their faces, the chances were they were they were real. That's what I thought. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. You know, because we all know that our community is very heavily infiltrated. As it happens, I've been hacked today, and I can't use my credit card, and I couldn't pay for some sunglasses earlier. And then I went for a Chinese meal and it wouldn't take my card. And so there's a lot of things going on at the moment. But anyway, and here we are today. And I'd love to help the Indian community, and I'll try to help every community in the world. And I really hope that we can get these evil microwave weapons stopped. I would like to say this as well. I'm going to quit. I'm going to be 2 seconds. Excuse me. I'm sorry about it. I'm not far away. It's just I wanted to show you something. Basically, I went to see Barry Trower. Barry Trower is very important to the MK Ultra survivors and targeted individual community. He's an ex-British military MI5, MI6 microwave weapons expert, and he's turned whistleblower because he knows about these programs, he knows about MK Ultra, he knows about microwave weapons, he knows about directed energy weapons, remote neural monitoring. He's been a great man for our community. And I asked him for the best, I met him 2 weeks ago, and I asked him for the best protection for us from radiation from the microwave energy. And he was kind enough to put these in the post to me, and I received them, I believe either yesterday or today. So over the next day, coming days, what I'll do is I'll scan them and I'll try to share them to my Twitter account. And well, all I can say is I think the world of so many people within the within our MK Ultra community and targeted individuals community, because I've got to know so many people personally. A lot of people have fallen out with me, I suppose. I've been through a lot of very, very serious transitions from not recognizing myself. I've just reminded me of something. After they'd regressed me for 8 or 9 years or however long, it was like they then had re-entered me into my body. And it was like I was a child growing into a man's body again, trying to be me, not knowing who I was for all of those years, and also putting up with the V2K for 26 years. And I'm truly sorry, and I mean it, to anybody that I've ever upset. And I hope that we can collectively, throughout the world, get these evil programs, these very, very sinister programs shut down. We've got all of the evidence that we need. I had a brain scan many years ago, and that's gone missing. It came back, the machine had malfunctioned, and I was never offered another scan. Anyway, I sincerely wish all of the MK Ultra survivors, the targeted individuals, And anybody suffering from 5G, Wi-Fi, hearing voices, or getting hit with energy weapons to the head, I haven't bothered, because I didn't really understand when people were talking to me. I didn't really understand what they were saying up until maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. They could have a conversation with me, and I didn't have a clue, because I was only learning to start to think for myself again. And tonight, doing this testimony, it's been good because it's brought some more revelations back to me. And I really hope it helps each and every person. And my friends, Tara and my Indian friend who asked me to do this, thank you, Tara. And I hope this helps all of my Indian friends and people from all over the world, from Australia to America to Japan, all over Europe, the Czech Republic, Germany. And I think so much of our community, and peace and love. And let's get this targeted individuals and MK Ultra programs, let's get them shut down, and let's collaborate and be friends with one another. And peace and love. God bless everybody. Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye.